I'm Lewis from the Buzz Off campaign. I'm here to ask Al a few questions. How old are you?
I'm 64.
64. Can you hear the devices?
I can't.
No.
Well, not entirely sure. I can hear the click when it comes on, but I can't actually hear the frequency itself.
If you could hear the device, what do you think your reaction would be?
I'd be, first of all, puzzled where it was coming from. I heard it for the first time. And then secondly, since I believe it's very unpleasant, I'd be pretty upset about it. I'd be pretty angry as to why it was happening, particularly if there was no warning anywhere that it was actually being used.
Yes.
It was young people who first told me about the mosquito. I was on one of my visits down to Devon in the southwest of England, and the young people there were telling me how angry they were about this noise they were hearing on the railway station.
Yeah.
And I went to see it for myself, and there was the box up on the wall with no warning that it was in use at all, and I thought this was a dreadful symptom of the difficulties we have in our society with the intolerance of adults towards young people, and so I was not prepared to let it lie. And as we got more feedback from kids across the country, I heard it was something that really was quite widespread. And so I was absolutely resolute in making sure we exposed this to the public, who by and large are unaware of it, because most of them can't hear it.
Yeah. So do you think the mosquito devices are a good idea?
Well, you've got to look at it from both sides of the argument, haven't you? From the local people who undoubtedly are angry about how some young people are behaving. It's a magic solution. This is installed, the kids disperse, that's the end of it. But from the kids' perspective, I think it's a dreadful device. First of all, because it's indiscriminate. Any young ear can hear it. And I've now had comments from parents of young children who now understand why their babies and children may become very upset when they go to some localities, when the babies can hear it, but the adult, the mother, can't hear it. And I've also had the parents of children who, for example, got autism. You may know about autism. And these children have very hypersensitive, exquisitely sensitive hearing. And they get very upset when they have loud noises or different noises. And I heard a mother who was really very angry about how her child got so distressed when he went to a locality, and she now understood why he was so distressed, but she couldn't hear it. So I think the fact that it's indiscriminate is a disgrace. I think, secondly, the fact it's not solving the problem. It's just dispersing kids somewhere else. And that's a danger to them, because many of the kids are gathering because it's safe, it's lit, it's maybe warm in a shopping mall or something, and it's just pushing the problem somewhere else without tackling the root cause. Now, only last night I was sitting outside in a bus shelter near where I live, with the rain pouring down, with about 12 teenagers. And they were in the bus shelter. Why were they there? Nowhere to go, nothing to do, adults don't like us, and adults refuse to work with us. So I think that this mosquito is a wake-up call when we expose it to the country. I want to ask adults seriously, why are we allowing this? And once we know where they are, and we're hoping people, young people especially across the country, will phone in or email us and tell us where they are, I'm going to ask the local authorities, the councils, and the owners of the shops or whatever it is where they're installed, why have you got them there? And what are you doing to actually give your local kids something to do and somewhere to go and actually start looking after them rather than condemning them?
So you think it makes like young people feel like second-class citizens almost?
I think it's blatant discrimination against children. You say, I'm really serious as an old guy. I've got 2 daughters and grandchildren. I see the new generation coming through, and I see something I never saw in my childhood, which was the demonization of young people, the intolerance of adults to young people. That's very dangerous for our society for the future, unless we get a better understanding between the generations.
So what are you going to do to help us give you support in the Buzz Off campaign?
Well, first of all, with my office and with my team like Lisa and the others that you met, we've gone to a great deal of trouble and a lot of work already to make sure we've been talking to the media about this, which is why the launch on Tuesday is so important for us. And I want to go public. I'm not frightened to go public, even to pick an issue that adults won't like me picking. I've no doubt that many adults will be furious with me because they think this is the answer to their difficulties. I'm not frightened to stand up and stick up for you guys, so I will do that. I will talk to government behind the scenes. I've already briefed them. We're going to go live on this very soon. So they're aware of it. I intend to write to every MP in the Parliament to draw their attention, ask them what they're doing. These important people called MPs, what are you doing, guys, locally to support your kids?
How to say thank you, Flo, for giving you support. What colour curtains do you have in your living room?
Curtains?
Yeah.
Ah, my goodness. I think they're terracotta, sort of orangey colour. Yes.
What ways do you think antisocial behaviour should be tackled, if not in use of the mosquito alarm?
Well, antisocial behaviour is a big problem, and the antisocial behaviour is not just caused by kids. Some of the greatest problems actually are caused by adults. So let's get that straight first of all. It's not just kids who do this. Secondly, it's a very complicated problem in our society, and there's no magic bullet. There's no one thing that's going to change it. I think we've got to start asking why there's so much violence around for a start. I'm very concerned about people who make violent games and DVDs. Why are they making such violent games? I can tell you why. It's to make money. Because they sell very well, but that isn't actually helping society. So there's a great deal of violence, and from talking to countless children, young people across the country, they tell me about the violence in their lives. Sometimes the violence is at school, of course, because of bullying, and we're very concerned about bullying in school. Violence happens outside of school, it may happen in the home. And so we've got to start recognising as a society we're a violent country. And then we've got to start tackling some of the root causes, as I was saying just now. We've got to ask, why is there so much antisocial behaviour? And no doubt alcohol is an important contributor to that.
Do you think that has anything to do with the upbringing?
It does, because parents and families are really important to young children, to give them standards of behaviour. But it's not just parents and families, it's the whole community. You know, Hillary Clinton, the lady who's running for president of the US at the minute, she wrote a book called It Takes a Village. And what she's saying is that the bringing up of a child is everybody's business. It's mums and dads, it's families, but it's also a local community in which they live. You know, I've been to places like Malaysia and to South Africa, where I've seen very, very poor developing countries. In those countries, in the villages, the child is very, very important. And everybody looks after the child, the neighbours, the families, and so on. We don't have that in this country. We'd rather not actually have children in our midst in many places. Yeah. So to tackle antisocial behaviour, we need to have some questions about the culture. We need to ask why kids are involved in it. We need to look at the alcohol problem. And we certainly need to look at holding people who do this to account. I'm not a dewy-eyed liberalist who thinks that kids are all fantastic. Some of them cause real trouble. And I've been to meet them in prison, actually, to hear their stories. And society has to make sure that it's protected against people who do antisocial behaviour. How we do it is the question, and how we persuade people not to do it in the first place is an even bigger question.
And final question to you is, not on my behalf, what's your bank PIN number?
I'm not going to tell you that.